Welcome to Lesson 2.6a on the imperfect tense in Spanish. It's important to understand what the imperfect tense is. It's the past tense. But as soon as I say that, you've already learned a different past tense in Spanish called the preterite. Well, the imperfect tense is a past tense that's considered continual or an ongoing past tense. It denotes repetitive actions or ongoing actions in the past. Imperfect actions happen in a wave-like format because they're repeated and they're not just one-time occurrences. They're not a blip on a radar. They are the continuous wave on the radar. So in English, we would loosely translate these to be was or used to, such as he was walking through the park. That was ongoing, but in the past. Or they used to walk through the park on their way home from school. And that denotes that this walking through the park didn't happen just one time. It was a habitual thing. So the imperfect would also be used in a situation like they were watching TV. He was watching TV. Or they used to watch Seinfeld. Something that was either ongoing, repetitive, happened many times in the past. So the first thing is we need to know how to conjugate in the imperfect. Well, the good news is that there are only 3 irregular verbs in the imperfect. There are no car-gar-zar, there are no stem changers, there are no irregulars, there are no UV, IJ, I to Y, nothing. Every single verb is nearly 100% normal. So if it is an AR verb, we're going to drop the AR and we're going to add aba, abas, aba, abamos, abais, aban. Notice the accent in the nosotros form over a in abamos. If we have an ER or an IR verb, we're going to drop the ER, we're going to drop the IR, and we're going to add ia, ias, ia, iamos, iais, ian. Now, every single I has an accent, so we actually have 6 accents for an ER-IR verb. So again, it doesn't matter if we're dealing with dormir, if we're dealing with jugar, if we're dealing with querer or dar. These verbs are 100% normal. We drop the AR, we drop the ER-IR, and we add those endings. There are only 3 verbs in the entire language that don't follow this pattern, and we're going to learn them now. The only 3 irregulars that we have in the imperfect are ser, ir, and ver. And technically, ver is not that irregular. Ver merely retains the E when we conjugate. So as opposed to dropping the ER and getting via, it maintains its E, so veía, veías, veía, veíamos, veíais, veían. It even has the same 6 accent marks that all ER-IR verbs do. Now, ser and ir, on the other hand, are completely irregular. They don't follow any pattern. They don't have any type of rationale. We just have to learn what they are. Now, when we conjugate for ser, we just use era, eras, era, éramos, erais, eran. And those are the conjugations. We don't add anything to it or take away. Ir becomes iba, ibas, iba, ibamos, ibais, iban. Now remember, the iba, ibas, iba is for the verb ir, which means was or were going or used to go. This is not for any IR verb. IR verbs have their endings. We already learned those. Iba, ibas, iba is specific to one verb alone. So now let's look at how this is going to play out. How does Spanish have 2 different past tenses? And so we have a little side-by-side view here. If I say, yo fui a la playa, I'm using the verb ir. Well, it means I went to the beach. It's a one-time action that is completed and done with. Whereas in the imperfect, yo iba a la playa, it indicates repetition. So this going to the beach happened more than once. I used to go to the beach. Tu comiste la pizza means you ate pizza. It's one specific time. But put that into the imperfect, tú comías la pizza, and it means either there was a repetitive occurrence of how often you ate pizza, or you were in the process of eating pizza, so you were eating pizza. Nosotros vivimos en Atlanta means we lived in Atlanta, but by saying it in the preterite, it means that there was a very specific, well-known time frame in which you lived in Atlanta. Versus nosotros vivíamos en Atlanta, that means we used to live in Atlanta. It was a longer period of time. We don't know the specific beginning and end points, so it's a little ambiguous. So this is where we're going. We first need to learn how to conjugate in the imperfect, and then we need to start deciding which past tense is actually needed. Now it's your turn to show me what you've learned. See you in class.